So we're talking about the speech that you gave at the last Klironomia, right? Which was the first time people met up after the pandemic, right? It was 2024.
And you know, well, first she got a standing ovation, and it was the whole room, 500 people exactly. They wanted to hear what Kyria Lucy Grigoriadis had to say. I will conclude with these thoughts. As you know, Klironomia in Greek means inheritance. If I were to add another word to this definition, I would add this word, connection. Our inheritance is a connection to our ancestors and to each other. When we join hands or shoulders, look at each other across a circle, we are connecting to each other. And this is Klironomia. It's like amazing. And that's what you've done. Thank you, Lucy.
So when we talk about the early days of Klironomia, we have your very first letters of interest that you sent to different people to ask them about bringing together dance groups, because you could see other organizations in the States doing a similar thing. And at the time, you were the president of the Diocesan Philoptochos. So this is back in the early 90s. And because you had access, you were also the dance instructor at All Saints, right?
Yes.
So
I had dancing groups.
You had dancing groups, and you were noticing that all of these churches had dancing groups, and you also knew that some Silohi had dancing groups. So you started to think, like, what's a way that we can bring together dance groups? Around the same time, you and I went to Florida to visit your mother.
Yeah.
Our Yaya Mary, right? Mary Apostolidis, who lived in Tarpon Springs.
Yeah.
That's right. Which has a huge Greek population, right? And a huge island population, because they all came from Kos.
Kos, back then.
Yeah. And Kalino.
Yeah.
Kalino.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is great, because I like to think of it as serendipity. It's like kismet. It's a situation where here we are visiting our family, and then I don't remember how we met John, but we met up with a teacher named John Lulias. We learned that not only did he have the biennial, which was a very good dance group, but we also learned that he taught dance. He was a workshop instructor.
Yes.
And I think that might have been the idea of, hey, you teach, why don't we bring you up to Canada to teach our groups?
First impression is, besides my mother's explanations of who this instructor was, besides that, I had a chance to meet him personally and ask him questions that I was interested for Canada. I was interested for anything that had to do with the groups that I was running. So she said, why don't you come when you can, and I will show you what I have in my home. What τρελάθηκα. I thought, this is not possible. How could it be so fast to tell me, έλα σπίτι μου, να σου δείξω. And I did go. I got lost in those little small rooms, cubicles, that I had to go and see, hey, wow, this is this.
Do you remember what you saw? What kinds of things do you remember seeing in his apartment?
To begin with, he showed me Pontian things. That I fell into something that I was interested. And I tell you why I was interested. It's not only what I saw in Florida, but the fact the fact that I fell into this kind of environment that led me to the competition of California.
He gave you contacts.
Well, he gave me contacts. He said, why don't you go to Chicago? I mean, Chicago have a wonderful group. You know, you should get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
And he encouraged me to meet other groups, leaders, whatever, and whatever questions I had, they would work with those questions.
And then in 1993, you, under the diocese, right? It's a diocese, under the diocese of Canada. No, under the diocese of Canada.
Yes.
You created the first Klironomia,
Yeah.
which was very small. How many people was it? Do you remember? You told us the
first
number.
that came with 16 people.
16.
And it was in?
Yeah.
What city was it?
A picture.
It was in Ottawa.
In Ottawa.
Yeah. Well, the diocese of the church holds a meeting every 2 years where they invite all of their organizations to take part in this conference. The Philoptochos, the boards, the this, the that. So in 1993, Lucy added a component to the Clergy Laity Conference as it was under the diocese's umbrella and called it the Greek Folklore Dance Conference. So she set it up as it was already happening in Ottawa. It was an easy way, because there was already a hotel, there was already an organizational structure to the conference, that it was easy for her to attach a dance component to that. In 1997, the parish of All Saints, which is your home parish, was holding their panigyri in a big public square, Mel Lastman Square, Young and Shepherd. And that was where we thought, we'll do our conference there and use the opportunity of the panigyri structure, the festival structure, to have our dance groups perform for that. Now, that was not the ideal way for kids to learn, and it wasn't an ideal setup.
I did not want it.
And after that, I'm going to assume that you can correct me, that after that learning experience, you said, from now on, we separate. We have our own space, we have our own hotel, we have our own dance rooms, we have our own performance, we decide our dances, we decide our gala, we are in charge of our fate.
That I don't want this event to go under any church.
What is it about this idea of bringing the paradosi that was different from what was happening before? Why was this idea so new? What was happening before that you didn't want to keep doing?
That was very different.
What was it?
That was very different to think about. Yeah, this was not an event.
Mm-hmm.
I should put it, an event that people will say, oh, we want to join this event or to join Klironomia because of they're doing this or they're doing that.
Because I think you saw that there needed to be a change.
Yes.
And the change maybe was that the thing that you had told me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the people that immigrated to Canada came with their paradosi from what they learned as young people, but they were not professionals in the sense that they were really looking to advance the knowledge, and it was more about sort of teaching the traditional dances in a very representative way, but not in a way that deepened the dancers' understanding of where they came from and why they were there and why the costumes were the way they were. So with John Lulias, John Lulias, she recognized that the scholarship and the expertise that he brought and the passion of learning about this paradosi, and I think that was the moment when you realized that Canada needed to to change. Like you needed to express that part of the tradition to kids, and it wasn't going to be with the teachers that were just, they had other jobs. They were just coming in and teaching the basic dances, right?
And that's why before the end of the day, at North York Center, before that, I knew that it's not going to be again.
Yeah.
Even my way of
It's interesting.
a lineup of dances. Or
Yeah, you just knew all of it had to change.
This would not have to change.
Because because the groups were performing in a panigyri, which is a different performing.
I keep saying
it's a different performance
please, guys,
expectation.
This is not a panigyri. I said that 100 times.
Yeah, but
I
it
was
wasn't
saying
panigyri.
this is not panigyri.
The people needed panigyri type dances, and so the conference idea is to dig deep into specific traditions, and then the idea came of Lulias, who had a specific area of expertise. Who else can we get? So Mom was thinking, why not go to Greece and find the people that have the expertise in those specific regions and bring over a bunch of them, like four teachers, 3 teachers, 5 teachers.
How did you think of the name Klironomia? Because it's stuck forever. This is it. This is the conference's name. So how did you come up with that?
Well, it took me really a lot of brain moving to decide which way should I go. That way, and I wanted to make sure that if I said to you, I think we'll give it Klironomia, you also, an individual, a young, beautiful woman that wants to continue some kind of Greek dancing and something like that, that you will go by the name, that you will say, I think that's a good idea.
For those who don't know the Greek
But
language,
Klironomia,
what is the meaning? What is the definition of Klironomia? For somebody who doesn't speak Greek, the name is Klironomia. What is it? What is the meaning of that word?
To the camera, tell it.
Yeah. What does Klironomia mean? Because
Well,
I'm wondering, is it legacy or is it inheritance?
I should call it inheritance, not legacy.
Yeah, inheritance.
But inheritance, yes, because it includes quite a few clavia.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. It's not just dance.
And
It's
Klironomia,
many
when you
things.
talk about Klironomia,
Yeah.
is you sort of, your heart starts to pound.
Oh, your heart starts to
Dance,
pound.
Yeah. It certainly can.
I think she's created a legacy in Canada for sure, because
100%.
Dora over here was inspired by the idea and has been instrumental in keeping it going as the legacy of what Lucy started.
So as I was growing
That's
up,
amazing.
I was teaching, the Greek community, and within caravan and everything, and being taught
We had
certain
caravan.
We had caravan all over, the GTA.
But caravan was not informative. It was not just showcasing.
Just
Showcasing.
Oh,
But our groups were choreographed. All the dances were choreographed. There was not a holistic.
They
Which
were learning
means what?
what they were doing.
Yeah.
So what does that mean exactly?
So, we were taught from instructors who had learned previous years from other instructors, but never really brought Greece to Canada. Okay? They brought a part of it, but it was not the whole original, authentic part. I had seen you on Avrami's Greek show, and I remember I had my VHS tape. I would record those programs. So that's how I ended up calling you. And I remember our conversation.
Really?
I called you, and you took the time, and you inspired me to come out and see what was happening.
you know, every conference had a book that had many, you know, the program of all the different regions that were being instructed.
the dances
Yeah.
that were being taught.
But we
the
were
agenda.
happy to have this.
all over Greece. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's after the 20 years.
Every
Yeah,
time.
so here's a nice image, and it doesn't matter what, you don't need to see the specifics, but there is a map of Greece here, and these numbers refer to the areas of expertise that the instructors are coming from. So this is a really wonderful. Did you come up with this image?
This was Father Ted.
Yeah, it's great. I'm getting chills just looking at it, because it really, you know, for a kid who's born in Canada, who maybe has limited access to a church or to a dance group once a week or whatever, but then they get this for a weekend. They get really deep dives of these specific regions. And yes, it did create community.
Oh my
It
goodness.
created,
friendships.
like, you couldn't have known that.
Yeah.
But here you are, and there were groups from the United States, there were groups from across Canada that came, and then they made it their job to come every 2 years, and so people gathered again, right? So there are people
the
that have been,
friendships that have been created is
And
I'm
they are
getting
just
chills.
waiting. People are waiting.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right. People wait for Klironomia to start.
Yeah.
And the mindset has totally shifted in Canada, and it's how to preserve what we don't have, what we have in Greece, and we can't live in Greece. We're bringing it here in Canada, and the preservation of keeping it whole. You know, why did they sing these songs? Why did they dance these dances? When did they dance these dances? What were the instruments that they played in this region? But to kind of answer what you were saying, it's the fact that from where Lucy started to where it's been now, you have to see the generational love of our tradition and our culture through the young ones to now the dance groups. So these kids that used to come to the conference who are now instructors and are carrying the torch forward. Μεταδίνουνε αυτά που μαθαίνανε, and we hope to keep that culture alive like that.
So do you have other people in Klironomia other than instructors? Do people just come to learn, or they're usually dance, music people that
Yeah, there's Philhellenes who come, you know, non-Greek people who come and attend. So it's just that they love the culture.
yeah. You don't have to be part of a dance group to come. You can come as a single registrant.
Yes.
I think the fact that you put the focus on education really saved you a lot of grief, because you didn't place it in the church, you didn't place it in the community. It was strictly about education, so it was open to anybody to come.
Yeah.
And that might have actually bridged relationships in a good way, as opposed to, you know, other times when things are more
And the fire
exclusive.
and the dancing and everything else, all this connected
People. Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
connected young people, connected.
You united Canada, Lucy.
I did.
You united Canada through Klironomia. So dance groups, we didn't know dance groups in Vancouver. We didn't know dance groups in Halifax. You've united them. We've become friends. We've become allies. And you know what? It's really nice because we each support each other. We get text messages now. Hey, just, you know, there's a conference happening in Montreal next month, okay? Which they spun from Klironomia. They had called us a few years back and they said, I know Klironomia happens every 2 years, but what happens in between? Would you mind if we had a conference in Montreal?
There you go.
So that's, you connected that. So now there is a dance conference every year during the May long weekend, you know, and a lot of the same groups that come to Klironomia are going to go there, and they're going to get a different
Yeah,
experience.
they plan their calendars
Yeah.
around the
You know,
dance conferences.
So, and I've received text messages saying, hey, we know you have this costume, but Adosi has this costume. Can we borrow it to represent authentically that area of Greece, which that never happened before. So people now connect that when you're dancing laconia, you wear a fustanela. When you dance naxos, you wear a vraca. You know, so, and the type of music, what kind of music, you know, so it, and I think you had mentioned that, you know, the genres of the music, like how does somebody know what to pick? And it's all because of education.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how the instructors like our conferences. Like I'm interested in how they see, you know, some of them have never been to Canada, certainly to teach 300 Canadian-born, you know, Greek Canadians. Like, can you speak about what comes to you from the instructors?
Oh, they have nothing but the best
Empathy.
words.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have magnitude of how the conference is run, and the quality
The quality.
is what the instructors love. So, and they feel that we keep our heritage alive here in Canada.
And all the groups, all the participants take all of the workshops, right? So
Yes.
there's no, it's not, you know, a group going, no, I'm only going to learn this particular region. Like they're not picking and choosing what regions they learn. It's, and you divide them,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. it's
So
round
so a
robin.
group of 20 dancers from one group are not going to necessarily be in the same workshop every time. So they're going to be you scatter them around,
Yeah,
but everybody moves in a rotation to all the different teachers.